Hi, in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about general navigation of itslearning, the platform, as well as navigating a specific instructional course within itslearning. Notice that I'm starting here on our HCPS start screen, which loads with any internet browser. If you're working from home, you can still access the start screen just by typing in start.hcps.org. I'm going to click on the itslearning tile. And once I select the itslearning tile, it's going to drop me into our home screen, which notice is also within a tile format. Within my tile format, I have my quick access courses, which are my starred courses. So these are the ones that I have specifically selected as my favorites. By default, when you are enrolled in a course, it's automatically curated as one of your starred courses. Once you unselect it as a favorite, it now falls down into your other courses. So as I scroll down, notice that I have a lot of other courses, but then the ones that are up here are my favorites. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another way to access your courses and then specifically talk to you about how you can star and unstar your courses. So from my home screen, I'm actually going to come up here and I'm going to select my courses, and this gives me a list of first my quick access courses. So these are my started courses. I'm actually going to go into all courses. Once I'm in all courses, this is a different aspect or perspective of looking at that same home screen. It's in list format, so you can see all of my courses. Notice here I have my stars, and those same starred courses are the ones that populated to the top of my home screen, and then the other ones are the ones that populated down underneath under my other courses. Notice that I have the ability to star and unstar, so this would be an easy way for you to clean up your courses list just to make your home screen a little bit more accessible and easy to use. Students have that same capability, so it may be important or it may be useful to have them star and unstar their most popularly used courses, because there may be some courses that students are enrolled in or that you are enrolled in that aren't frequently used or may just need to not sit up at the top of the home screen. So here's where you can manage those courses. I'm going to navigate back to my home screen. And from here, notice that I'm going to go into one of my instructional courses. So I can tell that this is an instructional course because notice that there's a course code associated with the course, a course name, a teacher, and a year. So I'm going to jump into this social studies teacher's course. And once I'm within a course, I automatically land on the overview screen or the overview page. From here, I as the teacher can add announcements that can be text-based or a resource or an image. I can notice over here, I can close this out so that I don't have to look at that. This is where my follow-up tasks are going to appear. So as students submit assignments to me or tests, they will show up here that I have a follow-up task, which would be to grade. The events is a calendar. Every single course has an attached calendar, so if you want to use the calendar feature, that is there too. Here is a sticky text box. In the sticky text box, this is where you can provide resources for your students that will remain for a longer duration than maybe an announcement. And we're going to focus on the announcements later on in our blend course. From here, what I'm going to do from my overview page is I'm going to jump over to plans. And plans is where teachers will find their course curriculum. I have a drop-down menu here, which allows me to navigate in between individual units of study or to see all of my units of study all at one time. It may be helpful as you're working just to focus your attention on the unit of study in which you're currently teaching. So for example, if it's the beginning of the year, I might jump into Unit 1, and now my only focus is on the plans associated with Unit 1. Notice as I scroll down that there's nothing else because I'm only looking at Unit 1. From here, I'm going to move over into resources, and resources is the folder structure of my planner. So any of my resources that are populated here in the student resources and learning experiences column of my plans will auto-populate into my resources. So I can find those same resources in the folder structure that I find in plans. We always suggest working within plans first because that provides you a full scope and sequence of your unit of study as well as your experiences, lessons, or topics along with your standards that are associated with that particular plan. So we would always encourage you to work from the planner perspective rather than working directly through resources. Resources is really more of just an organizational structure. The next tab over is follow-up and reports. So notice within follow-up and reports, I have a gradebook that is attached to my course. This gradebook does not feed TAC, so even if grades populate here in the gradebook, you will still need to add those same grades into TAC. I have standards progress report, and this is where I can look at specific standards associated with the content that I'm teaching and look to see my students' progress as they are approaching mastery of those certain standards. I also have assignment reports and personal reports for my individual students. I can look at summary and progress as well. I'm going to jump over to more. 360 reports is really just a deeper dive into some of the reports here. I'm going to jump over to more. And when I go into more, just be aware that in the More tab, I have participants and course groups. So when students are programmatically enrolled in courses, they are associated with a course and then scheduled with a teacher, and they are programmatically added to that teacher's course based on being rostered and registered with that teacher. So I'm not going to click on the participants that are specifically listed in this course just based on privacy, but all of the students and all of the participants that are currently enrolled in this course will show in the participants tab. That includes any teacher that is also enrolled in the course as a teacher, or if special educators have been added, or a GT teacher or a reading specialist, they will also appear as a participant. Course groups, specifically for secondary teachers. I might teach honors government multiple times in my schedule. All of my students are going to be enrolled in the same exact course, but then course groups are used to break the students down into their individual sections or class periods. So within my honors government course, I actually have 4 classes of honors American government that I would be teaching according to this teacher's schedule. Notice the number of participants per section appears here. Just be aware that the number of participants also includes the teacher. So if those numbers are a little off, it also includes the teacher that is also enrolled in the course. From here, I also have course settings. In my course settings, this is where I can personalize my course banner if necessary. I can add an image there just to make my course a little more aesthetically pleasing. Also under more is my course trash can. This is important to realize because there may be times where you accidentally delete an element or a resource from your course, or maybe accidentally delete a plan. We would always suggest jumping into the trash can just to see if there's any elements that have been accidentally deleted or any plans that have been accidentally deleted, and then you can individually restore those and they will return right back to where they were originally stored within your course. I'm going to hop back out to the overview page. A question that we frequently receive is, what does itslearning look like from the student perspective? Obviously, we are looking at this particular course from the teacher perspective as you would look at your instructional course. Notice that over here I have a little person icon. This little person icon will allow for me to change my view of this particular course. So if you're interested as you're adding content to your course to see what it looks like from the student perspective, you can come over here and change your little person icon to a student icon and you would be able to see a student view. It's important to remember that when you're finished viewing from the student perspective, to come back to the person icon and change yourself back to your teacher accessibility so that you have the ability to continue to add and modify content from your teacher side of things. We're now going to go back up to the global ribbon of itslearning, and within the global ribbon, you have the library. The library is where you can search for pre-populated content that comes either from your particular curricular office, or even search and find resources that are provided through the itslearning library from third-party vendors, or even maybe potentially other districts. It would be important as you're looking for the content through the library to obviously vet those resources prior to giving those to your students and make modifications and edits as necessary to support the needs of the students in your classroom. The next tab that I'm going to focus on is the Apps and Tools tab. Within the Apps and Tools tab, this provides you with access to many of our library media databases, as well as some of our other technology tools such as Discovery Ed or Envision Math, ClassFlow. Many of our district websites or resources are housed here under Apps and Tools so that there's a portal for you to be able to access those through itslearning. There are also some other resources depending on your content area that you can use down here under the resources tab. But in most cases, our focus will be under the support links of apps and tools. I'm going to continue over and notice that I have a little activity bell. This little activity bell is a signal that there is some activity that I need to be aware of. So there was a new comment made on an assignment that I had created in one of my courses, and I can see that there's a notification just alerting me that a comment has been made. One button over is a speech bubble. This is our messaging. In the messaging, this is where you can message your classes. You could message other itslearning users, and you would do so through the messaging here. Notice I can go in and I can create a new message, and I can send that to a particular group of students that are members of a course and provide a message there. So I know that there are some teachers that are using that just as frequent, like quick reminders. Don't forget that you need your textbook for class tomorrow, or things like that to provide supports for students in that capacity. Next over is my icon or my profile picture, and when I select that, I can come in here, and this is where my settings are. So in my settings, I have the ability to change my details, to add my profile picture, to set my messaging alerts, and my notifications. I can manage all of that within my settings screen there. Other than that, we really wouldn't encourage you to mess with any of the other settings within your account profile. So really, it would just be change details here, and then your messaging here would be anything that you would maybe want to consider just looking at. I'm going to navigate back to my home, which is where you're always going to land when you access itslearning.